Agnes, a woman who had witnessed the gentle turning of seasons in the quaint New England town of Havenwood, Massachusetts, for over 70 years, carried a quiet strength etched onto her face like the delicate tracery of frost on a winter windowpane. Her days unfolded with a comforting rhythm, the soft sigh of the wind rustling through the ancient maple trees in her yard, the warm, inviting glow of the afternoon sun filtering through the hand-stitched curtains of a cozy cottage, and the familiar, almost meditative strokes of a paintbrush as she captured the serene beauty that surrounded her. But the true north of her compass, the vibrant melody that played softly beneath the surface of her days, was her granddaughter, Lily. Her own daughter, Eleanor, had navigated the often turbulent waters of early motherhood with a fierce, admirable determination, juggling the relentless demands of 2 part-time jobs just to make ends meet in those challenging first years. Recognizing the immense strain, Agnes had unhesitatingly opened her heart and her home to young Lily. Havenwood became Lily's first universe, a landscape painted with the bright, uninhibited hues of childhood joy. Agnes's kitchen, with its well-worn linoleum floor and the sun-drenched windowsill that always held a collection of mismatched teacups, was Lily's initial art studio, the sweet, slightly acrid scent of poster paint mingling with a comforting aroma of freshly baked apple crisp. The cracked sidewalk that wound its way through Agnes's small garden, a testament to countless New England winters, served as a grand and imaginative highway for Lily's bright yellow scooter. And the sprawling backyard, often dotted with the cheerful defiance of dandelions, transformed into an enchanted meadow where Lily, with her wide, inquisitive eyes, would gather the sunny yellow blooms, presenting them to Agnes with the solemn gravity of a seasoned explorer returning with precious jewels. Nana, Lily would lisp, the simple endearment a note of pure music that resonated deeper than any grand symphony within Agnes's soul. For those precious fleeting early years, Agnes was Lily's steadfast anchor, her unwavering sun, moon, and stars, a constant source of comfort and unconditional love in a world that sometimes felt too big and too bewildering for small shoulders. As time, that relentless but often gentle current, carried them forward, Lily's world began its inevitable expansion beyond the familiar, comforting borders of Havenwood. The enchanting tales Agnes would lovingly read aloud from the worn pages of cherished storybooks gradually gave way to the captivating allure of glowing digital screens. The tactile intimacy of shared art projects at the kitchen table was subtly replaced by the fleeting, often superficial connections of online interactions, the ever-present world of social media beckoning with its irresistible siren call of trends, fleeting validation, and the constant hum of peer influence. Agnes observed this gradual, almost imperceptible metamorphosis with a quiet, bittersweet ache. A profound sense of pride swelled within her heart as she witnessed Lily's blossoming into a bright, articulate young woman, navigating the complexities of adolescence with a growing independence. Yet, a quiet pang of loss would occasionally echo within her for the simple, unadulterated closeness they once shared, a bond that seemed to be subtly, almost imperceptibly, fraying with each passing year, like a well-loved but increasingly delicate thread. Still, the deep, unwavering wellspring of Agnes's love for Lily remained a constant, an unshakable foundation beneath the shifting sands of her granddaughter's burgeoning life. Unseen and unspoken, a quiet testament to Agnes's enduring devotion took root and grew steadily over the span of 12 long years. Each month, with meticulous care and quiet determination, Agnes would carefully set aside whatever spare dollars she could manage from her modest fixed income. Birthday checks from distant relatives, often accompanied by heartfelt but brief notes, were carefully added to the growing sum, each one a small victory against the relentless tide of bills. Grocery bills were scrutinized with a hawk-like intensity, every potential saving diligently noted, every coupon carefully clipped. Even the occasional discomfort and worry of foregoing a needed over-the-counter remedy was quietly endured, a silent, unseen sacrifice made in the quiet corners of her day, all in service of a dream she held dear. This quiet accumulation was all for Lily, a tangible manifestation of Agnes's unwavering belief in her granddaughter's potential, a silent promise of a brighter future. Agnes knew of Lily's aspirations, her fervent, almost singular desire to attend the prestigious Rhode Island School of Design, a legendary institution that shimmered like a beacon of artistic excellence in the dreams of every ambitious young artist in the region. The sheer cost of tuition was staggering, a formidable number that often made Agnes's heart clench with a silent worry. The daunting prospect of living expenses in the bustling, expensive city of Providence seemed an almost insurmountable obstacle, a distant shore that felt impossibly out of reach. Yet, Agnes clung to Lily's dream with a quiet tenacity that often surpassed even Lily's own increasingly pragmatic outlook. Years had gently drifted by since Lily last picked up a paintbrush with the uninhibited joy of her childhood. Art, once a vibrant and shared language between them, was now rarely mentioned, relegated to the realm of youthful hobbies outgrown. Visits to Havenwood became less and less frequent, often coinciding with a specific need, a forgotten piece of identification, a request for a small loan, a ride to the train station for a weekend trip with friends. Still, Agnes's belief persisted, a small but persistent flame burning steadily in the quiet hearth of her heart. As Lily's 18th birthday approached, Agnes felt an almost visceral yearning to offer a gift that transcended the mere transactional nature of money. She longed to touch the very core of Lily's being, to gently stir the fading embers of the bright, imaginative child she once knew, to rekindle the warmth of their once seemingly unbreakable connection. And so she embarked on a deeply personal artistic endeavor, a painting that was far more than just pigment applied to canvas. It was a living testament to their shared history, a tangible echo of precious, fleeting moments. For weeks, Agnes immersed herself in the creation, each deliberate brushstroke imbued with a silent prayer, each carefully chosen color a whispered endearment. She lovingly recreated the sturdy wooden porch swing that hung beneath the sheltering branches of the ancient oak in her front yard, the very swing where a small, energetic Lily, with her scraped knees and infectious laughter, had spent countless summer afternoons soaring through the air, her small hand tightly clasped in Agnes's. She painted Buster, their beloved scruffy terrier mix, his loyal, intelligent eyes captured in warm, earthy tones, a poignant reminder of the furry companion who had been Lily's constant shadow throughout her childhood adventures in the woods behind their home. The cheerful, resilient daffodils that bravely pushed through the thawing earth outside Lily's bedroom window every spring bloomed anew under Agnes's careful brush, their vibrant yellow a symbol of hope, renewal, and the enduring cycle of life. And above it all, a soft, ethereal watercolor sky stretched, a vast, ever-changing expanse that had witnessed countless shared moments, whispered secrets under a blanket of stars, and the silent language of unspoken love. When the final, meticulous brushstroke was laid, Agnes carefully wrapped her heartfelt creation in simple, unpretentious brown craft paper, securing it with a delicate ivory satin ribbon, a touch of understated elegance that spoke volumes of her care. Inside, nestled securely against the painted canvas, she placed a small, handwritten card, the words penned with a lifetime of love and a quiet hope. "May your future be as bright as the little girl you used to be." A gentle, hopeful smile touched the corners of her lips as she carefully placed the wrapped gift in the back seat of her aging sedan, her heart swelling with a fragile anticipation, picturing Lily's face illuminated with surprise and genuine delight, envisioning a warm embrace, perhaps even a few heartfelt tears of shared remembrance. Little did Agnes know how sharply her tender imaginings would soon collide with the cold, hard edges of reality that awaited her. The 18th birthday celebration that unfolded at Eleanor's sprawling suburban home, a world away from the quiet charm of Havenwood, bore little resemblance to the intimate, love-infused gatherings Agnes had always lovingly orchestrated for Lily. Gone were the boisterous backyard barbecues filled with the joyful cacophony of family and familiar friends, the comforting aroma of Agnes's lovingly baked lemon cake, the slightly crooked streamers haphazardly hung with an abundance of heartfelt affection. This was an altogether different affair, polished, impersonal, and radiating an almost palpable air of affluence. Eleanor, clearly eager to showcase her hard-earned success, had orchestrated a lavish event that felt more like a sophisticated social gathering than a celebration of her daughter's milestone. Pristine white linen-draped tables gleamed under the expansive, rented tent that dominated the meticulously manicured lawn. A team of uniformed catering staff moved with practiced efficiency, presenting an endless array of gourmet hors d'oeuvres and artfully arranged platters. A professional DJ's music pulsed through the air, a contemporary soundtrack to a world far removed from the gentle melodies of Havenwood and the quiet rhythms of Agnes's life. Lily held court at her own designated table, a glittering monument of expensive gifts piled high in a blatant display of material wealth, sleek, designer boxes wrapped in glossy paper, each one a silent testament to a different kind of value. Amidst this glittering spectacle, Agnes stood somewhat awkwardly near the periphery, her simple, well-worn grey cardigan a stark and almost invisible contrast to the fashionable attire of the other guests. She clutched the carefully wrapped painting protectively, as if it were the last fragile piece of her heart, a silent, heartfelt offering in a world that seemed to speak only the language of brand names and price tags. In the flurry of greetings and air kisses exchanged among the more accustomed guests, her arrival went largely unnoticed, but Agnes found a quiet, almost resigned acceptance in that. She wasn't there for them. Her sole purpose, her unwavering focus, was Lily. Lily, a vision in a tight, shimmering emerald dress and impossibly high, strappy sandals that Agnes observed with a mixture of bewilderment and a touch of maternal concern, moved through the throng of guests with an almost practiced air of sophistication. Her laughter, amplified by the surrounding chatter and the insistent beat of the music, seemed a little too bright, a little too consciously performative. She paused frequently for carefully posed selfies with her impeccably dressed friends, their fleeting acknowledgements of Agnes feeling more like obligatory politeness than genuine warmth. Eventually, Eleanor's sharp gaze swept across the gathering and landed on Agnes, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. A practiced, polite smile stretched across her perfectly made-up face. "Oh, Mother, you made it," she announced, her tone carrying a subtle undercurrent of surprise, as if Agnes's presence was an unexpected and perhaps slightly inconvenient detail rather than the arrival of the woman who had lovingly guided her own child through her most vulnerable and formative years. Agnes, her own smile gentle and unwavering, offered the wrapped painting to Eleanor. "Where would you like me to put this, dear?" Eleanor, already pivoting her attention back to an animated conversation with a group of her stylish friends, gestured vaguely towards Lily's overflowing table with a dismissive wave of her hand. "Oh, just put it with the others, Mother." But a quiet instinct, a deep-seated yearning to connect with her granddaughter, held Agnes rooted to the spot. She wanted to present this gift to Lily herself, to witness the genuine flicker of recognition, the fleeting spark of shared memory in her granddaughter's eyes. She needed to. Finally, the designated moment for the grand unveiling of the gifts arrived. A small, expectant crowd gathered around the laden table, smartphones held aloft like modern-day chroniclers, ready to capture the spectacle of youthful indulgence. Lily, with the practiced efficiency of a seasoned recipient, tore through the expensive wrapping paper with barely a glance at the contents. Sleek, branded boxes containing the latest tech gadgets and designer accessories were tossed aside with a casual air of entitlement in the pursuit of the next glittering prize. Then, her perfectly manicured fingers, adorned with shimmering nail polish, reached for Agnes's humble offering. Agnes watched her approach it, her heart caught in a delicate, almost painful balance of hope and trepidation. The simple brown paper and ivory ribbon looked starkly out of place amidst the opulent extravagance. "Oh, this one's for my Nana," Lily announced, her voice carrying a forced, almost theatrical cheerfulness, a performance seemingly directed at her attentive audience. She carelessly ripped away the paper, opened the box with a perfunctory gesture that belied the weeks of love and effort Agnes had poured into its contents, and held up the painting. A sudden, almost palpable silence descended upon the small gathering, broken only by the faint strains of the background music. Then, a sharp, brittle laugh, unmistakably Lily's, pierced the air. "Are you serious?" Lily exclaimed, holding the painting aloft with a dramatic flourish, as if it were some sort of ludicrous object, a poorly conceived gag gift. "A painting? That's it. Seriously, Nana? It must have been like so much cheaper than, buying a real gift." A wave of snickers rippled through the group of teenagers surrounding her, their faces mirroring Lily's thinly veiled disdain. A boy with expensively styled hair muttered, "Oh wow, vintage. How thoughtful," the sarcasm dripping from his tone like slow poison. Eleanor cast Agnes a fleeting, uncomfortable glance, a silent, almost imperceptible plea for understanding, but offered no words of reprimand to her daughter, no defense of Agnes's heartfelt offering. Agnes stood frozen, the warmth draining from her face, her hands hanging uselessly at her sides, the weight of the moment pressing down on her like an invisible burden. "It's sweet, I guess," Lily added with a dismissive shrug, her attention already drifting back to the more enticingly wrapped boxes on the table. She propped the painting carelessly against the leg of the laden gift table, effectively relegating it to the status of an unwanted afterthought, a forgotten piece of decoration. The attention of the small crowd had already shifted, drawn by the allure of another brightly colored package. In that moment, amidst the echoing laughter and the rustling of expensive paper, no one saw the profound, almost unbearable pain that etched itself onto Agnes's face. That was the cruel, silent truth of being invisible. No one ever truly noticed when your heart quietly shattered into a million irreparable pieces. Agnes turned and began the slow, agonizing walk back towards her car, each step feeling heavy, as if she were dragging the accumulated weight of years of unspoken sacrifices, unacknowledged love, and now, this fresh, raw sting of profound rejection. Years of birthday cakes baked with love and care, years of scraped knees kissed better with a grandmother's gentle touch, years of whispered prayers over bills just so Lily could pursue her fleeting passions. Ballet lessons, art classes, summer camp. All seemed to coalesce into this single crushing moment of casual cruelty. She sank into the worn leather of the driver's seat, the familiar scent of old books and lavender a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil within. She closed the car door, the sound a muffled finality, and turned off the ignition, the sudden silence amplifying the deafening roar of her inner anguish. No dramatic sobs erupted, no torrent of cleansing tears. Instead, a profound stillness settled over her, broken only by the quiet observation of her own hands resting on the steering wheel, watching with a detached sense of disbelief as a solitary tear escaped her eye and traced a lonely, shimmering path down her weathered cheek, finally coming to rest on the simple gold band that had once symbolized a lifetime of shared love and unwavering commitment. In that quiet, solitary confinement of her car, a stark and undeniable truth pierced through the suffocating fog of her hurt. That painting, that humble offering born from weeks of painstaking effort and a lifetime of unconditional love, was the most authentic and heartfelt gift she had to give. And Lily, blinded by the glittering allure of material possessions and the shallow validation of her peers, hadn't seen it. None of them had, not really. But in the quiet depths of her being, Agnes knew with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, this moment, this sharp, unexpected sting of ungratefulness, would forever be etched into the landscape of her memory, a painful reminder of a love unacknowledged and a heart unknowingly broken. The drive back to the familiar quiet of her Havenwood cottage felt strangely surreal, the vibrant greens and blues of the Massachusetts landscape blurring into an indistinguishable wash of color through Agnes's tear-filled eyes. The casual cruelty of Lily's dismissal replayed in her mind like a broken record, each echoing laugh a fresh twist of the knife. The memory of the carefully chosen daffodils in her garden, symbols of resilience and renewal she had so lovingly painted, now felt like a cruel irony, a vibrant reminder of the beauty Lily had so carelessly disregarded. Even the gentle sway of the old porch swing, usually a source of quiet contemplation and fond memories of Lily's childhood, now seemed to creak with a mournful sound, a tangible echo of a joy that felt irrevocably tarnished. In the hushed stillness of her home, surrounded by the comforting familiarity of her belongings, a profound sense of weariness settled over Agnes. The 12 years of quiet sacrifice, the countless small acts of self-denial undertaken with such unwavering love, now felt like a burden she had carried for too long, a precious offering met with indifference and disdain. The weight of unspoken expectations, the silent hope for reciprocation, began to feel like a heavy cloak she could finally, and perhaps should have long ago, shed. In the days that followed, a quiet reckoning took place within the walls of Agnes's cottage. The carefully labeled folder containing the meticulously saved college fund, once a beacon of hope for Lily's future, now sat on her desk, a tangible symbol of a path that had abruptly diverged. With a hand that trembled only slightly, a testament to her inner turmoil, Agnes initiated the electronic transfer of the funds back into her own account. The digital progress bar on her aging computer screen seemed to inch forward with agonizing slowness, as if offering a final, silent opportunity for reconsideration. But Agnes's resolve, born not of anger but of a deep-seated need for self-respect, remained firm. The money, so painstakingly saved for a dream that now felt distant and unappreciated, was rightfully hers. A quiet sense of closure, tinged with a profound sadness, settled as she closed the banking portal, the heavy weight of obligation finally beginning to ease its grip. This wasn't an act of vengeful spite, but a quiet reclaiming of her own agency, a long overdue acknowledgement of her own needs and her own future. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, Agnes chose herself. In the gentle rhythm of her solitary days, Agnes found herself increasingly drawn back to the familiar solace of her art. The dusty easel that stood patiently in the corner of her small, sunlit study, often neglected in recent years as her focus narrowed on Lily's needs, once again beckoned with a silent invitation. The tubes of paint, their vibrant hues holding the memories of countless landscapes and still lives captured over the years, offered a non-judgmental language for the complex tapestry of emotions swirling within her. With each tentative stroke on a fresh canvas, a sense of quiet release began to emerge, a silent dialogue between her wounded heart and the tangible world taking shape under her fingertips. It was during this period of quiet introspection that Agnes felt an almost magnetic pull to revisit the painting she had so lovingly created for Lily. The familiar images, the sturdy porch swing beneath the sheltering branches of the ancient maple, the loyal, intelligent gaze of Buster, the cheerful resilience of the daffodils pushing through the spring earth, held a bittersweet poignancy. They were tangible echoes of a shared past, now viewed through the harsh, unforgiving lens of Lily's casual cruelty. The painting transcended its artistic form. It became a stark symbol of Agnes's unconditional love, her dedicated effort, a piece of her very soul offered freely and carelessly rejected. In that quiet moment of contemplation, a profound and undeniable understanding settled within her. Lily's dismissal hadn't been merely of the artwork. It had been a rejection of Agnes herself, her love deemed cheap and insignificant. A quiet act of defiance, a small but significant rebellion against the weight of her hurt, began to bloom within Agnes. Gently lifting the painting from where Lily had so carelessly discarded it, she addressed the canvas in a soft but firm voice, a quiet promise to herself. "You are not going into a closet, not anymore." A new sense of purpose, a quiet determination to seek recognition not for Lily's sake but for the inherent value of her art and her own story, began to stir within her. Turning to the familiar weight of her old Polaroid camera, a faithful recorder of moments both big and small from years gone by, Agnes carefully photographed the painting. Through the square viewfinder, she captured not just the visual representation but the very essence of the emotions she had poured onto the canvas. Then, settling at her worn wooden desk, the gentle hum of her aging computer a comforting, familiar sound, she began to type, her fingers moving with a newfound sense of purpose. In the vast, interconnected world of the internet, Agnes unexpectedly stumbled upon a small, nurturing online community, a digital sanctuary for older women artists. Within this quiet corner of the web, they shared their creative endeavors, their life experiences, offering words of encouragement, understanding, and a shared sense of belonging. With fingers that trembled only slightly, a mixture of nervousness and a burgeoning sense of hope, Agnes uploaded the photograph of her painting, the image appearing on the screen like a fragile offering cast upon a welcoming shore. In the caption box, she poured out a piece of her truth, the words flowing from a place of quiet vulnerability and newfound courage. This painting was called "Cheap" by someone I love, but it was painted with everything I had left. Every brushstroke is a memory, every color a piece of my heart. Maybe it's not enough for some, but it was everything to me. With a deep, steadying breath, she clicked "Post," releasing her story and her art into the boundless digital realm, unsure of what the response might be, but feeling a quiet sense of liberation in having finally spoken her truth. Agnes harbored no grand expectations, perhaps a few polite likes, a kind comment or two from fellow artists who understood the quiet language of the heart expressed through art. This wasn't a desperate plea for validation. It was a quiet act of self-expression, a reclaiming of her narrative through the tangible language of her brushes and colors. Leaving the computer humming softly on her desk, a silent sentinel of her newfound vulnerability, she retreated to the familiar comfort of her living room, the gentle aroma of brewing chamomile tea filling the air, a soothing balm for her wounded spirit. Settling into her favorite armchair, the worn fabric molding to her familiar shape, she sat in silence, the quiet of the evening enveloping her like a comforting shawl. For the first time in a long, long while, the pervasive feeling of invisibility began to dissipate, replaced by a nascent sense of being seen, of acknowledging her own presence and her own worth in the quiet tapestry of her life. A small, fragile seed of hope began to sprout in the barren landscape of her hurt. The following morning dawned with a gentle radiance, the soft golden light filtering through the lace curtains casting long, hopeful shadows across the worn wooden floorboards. The untouched cup of tea from the previous evening sat cool on the end table, a silent witness to a night of quiet contemplation and the subtle stirring of something new within her soul. As Agnes shuffled towards her computer, a hesitant flicker of curiosity propelled her steps. The screen, usually displaying a handful of routine notifications, now glowed with an unexpected vibrancy. A cascade of likes, comments, and shares, the numbers steadily climbing. Her painting, The Rejected Gift, had somehow ignited a spark, resonating with complete strangers in ways she could never have imagined in her quiet Havenwood existence. Scrolling through the comments, Agnes was deeply moved by the raw and heartfelt responses that poured in from across the digital landscape. "This brought tears to my eyes," one comment read, the simple words carrying a weight of shared emotion. "The emotion in this piece is palpable. Whoever called this cheap has clearly never understood the true meaning of love, sacrifice, or the profound language of the heart." Others expressed a fervent desire to own a print, their words a balm to Agnes's wounded spirit. "Do you sell prints? I would be honored to hang this in my home, a reminder of the power of genuine love." A few even inquired if she exhibited her work anywhere, their questions igniting a small, flickering ember of possibility within her. Then, one message stood out from the digital chorus, a beacon of unexpected opportunity in the sea of online appreciation. "Dear Agnes," it began, the simple salutation carrying an unexpected weight. "My name is Vivian Holloway, and I am a curator for a small but well-respected gallery in the Soho district of New York City. Your piece stopped me cold. The raw emotion and the story it conveys are truly captivating. Would you ever consider exhibiting it here in our gallery? We would be deeply honored to showcase your work." Agnes reread the message several times, the words New York City, gallery, exhibit, echoing in her quiet Havenwood home like a dream she hadn't dared to have. She glanced towards the painting, still leaning quietly against the wall, bathed in the soft morning light. Her memories, her hurt, were being seen, potentially transformed into something beautiful and shared with a wider world. With hands that trembled slightly, a mixture of disbelief and a burgeoning sense of excitement, she typed a heartfelt reply. "Dear Ms. Holloway, yes, I would be honored beyond words." Within hours, more messages began to arrive. Inquiries from online art magazines seeking interviews, enthusiastic art influencers wanting to share her story, and even a woman from a prominent online platform asking for a feature piece. It felt as if a small, unassuming pebble thrown into the still pond of her life had somehow created a ripple effect that was now spreading far beyond the familiar shores of Havenwood. Later that afternoon, Vivian Holloway, the curator from New York, called. Her voice was warm and articulate, filled with a genuine enthusiasm for Agnes's work. She insisted on arranging transport for the painting herself, emphasizing the care and respect she felt it deserved. "This isn't just a piece of art, Agnes," she said, her voice resonating with sincerity. "It's a story that needs to be heard, a testament to the enduring power of love and the resilience of the human spirit." Vivian also inquired about the title of the piece. Agnes paused for a moment, a gentle smile gracing her lips as she recalled Lily's dismissive words. "Call it The Rejected Gift," she said, the title now carrying a quiet strength and a hint of defiance. A brief pause on the other end of the line, then Vivian's thoughtful response. "Perfect. It speaks volumes." After hanging up, Agnes sat at her kitchen table, the late afternoon sun casting long, dancing shadows across the worn wooden surface, and let the enormity of it all wash over her. This wasn't about proving Lily wrong. Not anymore. It wasn't even solely about the unexpected recognition for her art. It was about Agnes reclaiming the parts of herself she had unknowingly surrendered over the years, about taking something that had been dismissed as worthless and transforming it into something undeniably valuable, something that resonated deeply with the hearts of others. That night, Agnes didn't just sleep. She drifted into a peaceful slumber filled with dreams of vibrant colors and welcoming lights, the comforting feeling of finally, truly being seen a warm and gentle embrace. The weeks that followed Vivian's call were a whirlwind of quiet activity in Agnes's Havenwood cottage. The old rotary phone on her kitchen wall seemed to ring with a newfound frequency, bringing with it a chorus of voices, Vivian, with her gentle enthusiasm and meticulous planning for the Soho exhibition. Art bloggers, eager to share the heartwarming story behind The Rejected Gift, and even a local journalist from the Havenwood Gazette, curious about the artist whose work was suddenly garnering national attention. Agnes, with a sense of bewildered wonder, navigated this unexpected surge of interest, her quiet life undergoing a profound and transformative shift. The opening night at the Soho Gallery was an experience Agnes could scarcely have imagined. Stepping into the bright, bustling space, surrounded by the murmur of appreciative voices and the soft glow of track lighting illuminating her painting, felt like stepping into a dream. People lingered before The Rejected Gift, their faces reflecting a range of emotions: quiet contemplation, a shared sadness, a flicker of recognition. Vivian, her eyes sparkling with pride, whispered in Agnes's ear, "They feel it, Agnes. They truly feel it." The small placard beside the painting, simply reading "The Rejected Gift" by Agnes Albright, felt like a quiet declaration of her reclaimed voice. The success of the exhibition was beyond anything Agnes could have anticipated. Offers began to trickle in, requests for prints, inquiries from other galleries, even a tentative email from a collector in California expressing interest in purchasing the original piece. Vivian, acting as Agnes's unexpected but fiercely supportive advocate, carefully fielded each inquiry, ensuring Agnes felt comfortable and in control of this new chapter in her life. Back in Havenwood, the familiar quiet of Agnes's cottage now held a different quality, infused with a sense of quiet accomplishment and a burgeoning self-assurance. She found herself drawn to her easel with a renewed passion, the colors on her palette seeming brighter, the possibilities endless. Her new paintings began to explore themes of resilience, the quiet strength of aging, and the beauty found in unexpected places. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when Eleanor finally called. Her voice, usually brisk and efficient, held a hesitant quality. She had heard about the New York exhibition, the positive reviews, the unexpected attention Agnes's work was receiving. There was no apology for Lily's behavior, no heartfelt congratulations for Agnes's success, just a thinly veiled curiosity, a probing for details. Agnes, with a newfound sense of composure, offered only a brief, polite summary, keeping the focus on her art and her journey. Then came the day Lily appeared on Agnes's doorstep. The porch swing swayed gently in the breeze, a silent witness to the years that had passed and the chasm that had grown between them. Lily's face was pale, her eyes carrying a weight of something Agnes couldn't quite decipher. There was no bright, performative greeting, no forced cheerfulness. "Nana," she said softly, the familiar endearment sounding strangely unfamiliar on her lips. "Can we talk?" Agnes, her heart a complex mix of caution and a flicker of something akin to hope, stepped aside and allowed Lily into the warm, familiar space of her kitchen. They sat at the same worn wooden table where Lily had once spilled her juice and proudly displayed her childish drawings. The silence between them felt heavy, laden with unspoken words and unacknowledged hurt. "I saw the article online," Lily finally began, her voice barely above a whisper. "About your painting. About you." Agnes remained silent, offering no encouragement. Lily's gaze flickered around the room, avoiding Agnes's direct stare. I wanted to say I was sorry. For my birthday. For what I said." The apology felt hesitant, almost rehearsed. Agnes simply nodded, waiting. Lily's hands fidgeted in her lap. I was awful, Nana. Selfish. I didn't appreciate." Her voice trailed off. "Things have been different. I've been thinking a lot." She finally met Agnes's gaze, and for a fleeting moment, Agnes saw a flicker of the vulnerable child she once knew. "About RISD. About everything. I know things are probably complicated now, but I miss you, Nanad, I really do." The words hung in the air, carrying a faint echo of the past. Agnes listened quietly, her heart guarded but not entirely closed off. She had learned the hard way about the complexities of love and the pain of unmet expectations. "I'll think about what you've said, Lily," she replied gently, her voice calm but firm. "I'm glad you came by." Lily's visit was the first of several. She began to stop by more regularly, sometimes with a small offering, a loaf of bread from the local bakery, a pot of her favorite hyacinths for the garden. She spoke of her struggles with her college applications, the daunting reality of tuition costs, her dawning realization of the sacrifices Agnes had made. Slowly, tentatively, a fragile bridge began to rebuild between them. Agnes listened, offering quiet words of wisdom, observing the subtle shifts in Lily's demeanor. The performative brightness had faded, replaced by a quiet sincerity that felt more genuine. Then came another unexpected call, this time from a prestigious art collective in London. They had seen Agnes's work online, the powerful story behind The Rejected Gift, resonating deeply with their mission to showcase the voices of overlooked female artists. They offered Agnes an invitation to participate in a traveling exhibition across Europe, an opportunity that felt both surreal and exhilarating. As Agnes prepared for her journey to Europe, a small envelope arrived in the mail. The return address was familiar. Lilied Agnes's heart fluttered with a mixture of trepidation and a cautious hope as she carefully opened the letter. "Nana," Lily's familiar handwriting began, the script a little less hurried than usual. "I know my words at my birthday were thoughtless and cruel, and I understand if you can't forgive me. Seeing your painting in the news, reading about how much it means to people, it made me see things differently. I was so focused on what I wanted that I didn't see the love you were offering. I was wrong, Nana, I was truly wrong. I miss our times together more than I can say. I hope one day, maybe someday down the road, we can find our way back to each other. With love, Lily." Agnes read the letter twice, the simple words carrying a weight of genuine remorse. The anger she had initially felt had softened over time, replaced by a quiet understanding of the often selfish nature of youth. She carefully folded the letter and placed it in a small wooden box, a repository of memories, both joyful and painful. Her travels through Europe were a revelation. Surrounded by art and history, by new sights and sounds, Agnes felt a sense of liberation she had never experienced before. She met other artists, shared stories, and found a renewed sense of purpose in her work. In a small café in Paris, overlooking the Seine, she met a kind, thoughtful man named Julian, an artist himself, who appreciated her quiet strength and her unique perspective. Their connection was gentle, unhurried, a quiet companionship that blossomed amidst the beauty of the city. Upon her return to Havenwood, Agnes felt a profound sense of peace. Her cottage, once a quiet refuge, now felt like a vibrant hub of creativity. She continued to paint, her canvases filled with bold, confident women, their faces reflecting the resilience and wisdom that comes with age. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves in Havenwood blazed with color, Lily came to visit. This time, there was no forced apology, no veiled agenda. She simply came to spend time with her Nana. They sat on the porch swing, the gentle creaking of familiar rhythm, and talked. They spoke of art, of life, of the complexities of family. Lily shared her struggles and her growing understanding of Agnes's sacrifices. There were no dramatic pronouncements, no easy resolutions, but a quiet sense of understanding began to blossom between them. Time, Agnes had learned, had a way of softening sharp edges, of allowing for the possibility of forgiveness, not as an act of forgetting, but as a quiet acceptance of the imperfections of the human heart. The canvas of their relationship, once torn, was slowly, tentatively, being pieced back together, not to recreate the past, but to create something new, something stronger, tinged with the wisdom of experience and the enduring power of love, however imperfect. The unfurling canvas of Agnes's life held new possibilities, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unexpected beauty that can emerge from even the deepest of hurts. The echo of forgiveness, soft but clear, began to resonate in the quiet corners of her heart.